ever scrolling through Instagram, see one of those like meditation app ads and you're like, whoa, creepy, they're totally listening to me.
Yeah.
Right? Like suddenly our phones are like developing empathy or something.
Right.
Well, that's a whole other deep dive probably, but it kind of makes you wonder, what if AI could like actually help us feel better, you know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're diving into today, AI in mental health care, but not just like the hype, you know, what's actually happening right now.
Exactly.
So we'll see how AI is already being used, explore the like amazing potential, and unpack some of those what if this goes wrong concerns, because trust me, it's way more interesting than a rogue meditation app.
Way more interesting.
Yeah.
Much higher stakes probably too.
Yeah, exactly. So no need to boot up your AI assistant just yet. Let's start with the basics.
Okay.
When we say AI in mental health, what are we even talking about?
Yeah, so it's less about like robots taking over therapy sessions, and it's more about like using incredibly powerful tools to like really help people in a bunch of different ways. So for example, you could imagine like an algorithm that's able to analyze thousands and thousands of patient conversations and pick up on subtle language patterns that might indicate, you know, someone's struggling with depression.
Wow.
Even if the person hasn't, you know, explicitly said, I'm feeling down.
Wow. So it's like AI is learning the language of like mental health itself.
Yeah, in a sense.
That's fascinating and a little bit unnerving, honestly, if I'm being totally honest. But it makes sense, right? Like we leave these digital footprints everywhere. So how is all this data being used right now to actually help people?
Right. So, I mean, think about those therapy apps you mentioned. You know, you've got things like Wobot, which uses AI to actually deliver cognitive behavioral therapy techniques.
Oh, wow.
Through, you know, conversations that feel surprisingly human, surprisingly natural. And studies have shown that, you know, these types of apps can be effective, at least in the short term, in reducing symptoms of, you know, things like anxiety and depression.
Okay. So it's not just like futuristic sci-fi anymore. It's already helping people. So is that where like the excitement about AI and mental health comes from?
Yeah, absolutely. For starters, you know, think about access.
Okay.
So in a world where, you know, finding a therapist can feel like winning the lottery, AI could be a game changer.
Right.
Right? No more geographical restrictions, potentially lower costs.
Yeah.
It could really democratize mental health care
Yeah.
in a way that we just haven't seen.
Yeah, that's huge. Like everyone deserves access to quality care, regardless of like their zip code or their income.
Absolutely.
But I imagine it's not just about like quantity, right? It's about like making treatment itself more effective too, right?
You hit the nail on the head because AI can analyze these huge data sets, right? We're talking about millions and millions of data points. It can start to pick up on patterns and personalize treatments in ways that frankly just weren't possible before.
Yeah.
So let's say you're using an AI-powered therapy app.
Yep.
The app can track your progress over time, identify triggers for, you know, negative thought patterns.
Yeah.
It can even adjust the therapy exercises based on what's working best for you.
Okay, that's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah.
It does make you wonder though, like what are the caveats here? Like we're talking about mental health, like incredibly personal stuff.
For sure.
What about like the potential downsides of relying on AI in this way?
You're right to be cautious for sure. And I think one of the biggest concerns is around data privacy.
Yeah, of course.
You know, making sure that sensitive mental health information is protected is absolutely crucial. And while, you know, the technology is advancing rapidly, there's still the question of whether AI can truly replicate, you know, the empathy, the nuanced understanding of a human therapist.
Right. Like, can an algorithm really get what it feels like to like go through a panic attack or a major life change? Like, these are very human experiences.
They are very human experiences. And it's a valid question to ask, like, how far can we really push this technology before we start to lose something? And also, I think, you know, we have to be mindful of not becoming overly reliant on technology. You know, human connection, human interaction is still vital when it comes to mental health care.
For sure. For sure. So where do we go from here? Like, is the future like a world where robots have just replaced therapists entirely? Hopefully not. But
No, I don't think so. Not quite. You know, think of it more as like give therapists superpowers, you know, giving them these tools that can augment and enhance what they're already doing. So imagine AI helping them, you know, personalized medication management or even predicting mental health crises before they happen, allowing for early intervention.
Oh.
You know, the future of AI in mental health, I think, is really about this beautiful collaboration between, human expertise and these really powerful technological tools.
I like that.
It's not about replacement, it's about augmentation.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack, right? We've talked about AI, like learning the language of mental health, personalizing treatments, making care more accessible.
Right.
But it's not without its challenges, right?
Of course not.
Data privacy, the irreplaceable human element of this kind of care.
Yeah.
It's complex. What stands out to you as we kind of wrap up this deep dive?
I think for me, it boils down to this. Like, AI has the potential to absolutely revolutionize mental health care. But it's up to us to shape how that revolution unfolds. It's about asking ourselves tough questions. What role do we want technology to play in our own mental well-being? And what are the limits of that? What are the lines we don't want to cross?
Yeah.
And that's an ongoing conversation, right? There's not going to be like a nice, neat answer.
Yeah.
And it's a conversation worth having.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, on that note, everyone listening, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. And keep those conversations going.